The seasons of you is always changing. But how do you cope with the uncertainty of what will come? All right, let's do this. I have some thoughts. How are you guys doing? I thought I was gonna take you with me to the forest today and talk about reinventing yourself. No coffee today, way too warm. What if you wake up like later in life and realize things about yourself, but you already have, things in place like a house or family or pets. And when I say realize things about yourself, I'm thinking maybe preferences, lifestyle preferences, values. I mean, you name it. It can be really anything. I feel like it can be like paralyzing when you realize that, oh shit, I want something totally different. Because I am a safety junkie by heart. I love it when things are safe. And these are two things that actually collide in my personality. That on the one hand, I am like, very driven and entrepreneurial, I would say. And on the other hand, I'm like, oh, safety, everything, you need to be responsible, don't take dumb risks, and so on. And those two, they don't really connect. I mean, maybe it's that you have changed, or maybe it's just things that you have, that's been a part of you all along that has caught up with you, that you maybe have suppressed or something. I'm talking about through life, and again, I know I'm only 34 years old. I have a lot of life left to live and a lot to learn. But already now, I'm realizing that up to here, to now, I have had like different, not personalities per se, but expressions of my personality and preferences, values. And I'm figuring that this is something that it will never be stagnant. You will always evolve. Seriously, it's been warm for like a week and the mosquitoes are just going insane. I have like with bug spray all over me. So I hope they're gonna like stay cool. At least for a little bit, so I can talk to you for a while. What do you do when you realize like you want something else out of life? I mean, you have things to consider, like family, friends, pets, jobs, like economical responsibilities, and so on. For me personally, when I analyze this or when I think about it, it's like some things have always been a part of me, like enjoying the forest, being very creative, being driven, and springtime and you hear something in the woods and you're like, hello, hello. Yeah, anyway. And those things have always been a part of me, but maybe different, it has taken different, it has expressed itself in different ways. And I'm hoping that some of you can relate to this as well, that maybe you have like some foundational pillars of that you consider a big part of yourself, but they have taken different, sometimes they have a very big place in your life, and in other seasons of your life it doesn't have as big a place. For example, like the forest and everything, and it's a constant development of yourself in different ways. You will evolve and try new things, and do I like this, and do I want this, yes or no. And also, I mean, like when I moved to Stockholm, for example, I wanted that. It's not like I moved there against my will. And now, when I moved here to the north of Sweden, just outside Umeå, I wanted to move here too. No one forced me to do it. But it's just that I tried something and my preferences for how my life looks changed. If you're alone, I'm not gonna say that it's easier when you're alone, but it can be easier, at least in my experience from when I was not in a relationship, didn't have a kid, didn't have any pets. It was way easier to just be like, oh no, I'm done with this, I want something else. I mean, now if I want to like, oh well, I would like to move to the mountains, I can't just do that because, well, I could, but I think it would kind of make my relationship crash and burn. So I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, you just have more things to take into consideration when you want to do a change. And to me personally, it also makes me more risk averse than I was before. And as humans, we tend to be risk averse to begin with, and we fall prey to the status quo bias and so on. We want what we know is safe, and what we don't know is hella dangerous. I'm also thinking a lot about how it feels to change. I mean, it can hurt. And it might even hurt people around you, I guess. It depends on how you act on it, maybe, or something. I don't know. Maybe also because we as people and humans, we like to have, we like to put people and things into a box that we can identify. We know the ifs and buts and everything about the thing or the person. So when a person changes, it can make, if you change, it can make other people uncomfortable. And I want to say that is not, what the hell? Oh, it's my water bowl. Anyway, when you change and it makes other people uncomfortable, it is not your responsibility to make them comfortable. Those feelings, that's all them. That's something that they have to work through themselves. But what does it feel like to change? I mean, what does it do to the idea that you had about yourself for so long? Probably years, maybe even decades. I mean, I'm thinking that how many cycles of reinvention you have of yourself. It will be very, very individual. Maybe some have many cycles and reinvent themselves in one way or another, conscious or unconscious, like every few years. And for some, it can be decades. How does that feel? I guess it can stir up feelings of sadness, like a person that you know in and out, you know yourself very well, and there's something soothing about knowing yourself, and like some confidence, and yeah, you know what you like, you know what you want, like your goals and what you're gonna do in life. And then it's that feeling when you wake up and actually really realize that, oh, but this thing, it doesn't even have to be your whole life or your whole person, but this thing, I don't want this anymore. If it's your job or where you live or your partner, I don't know, just insert anything that you want to change that is a big part of your life and yourself. It's not just scary, I think it's sad too, maybe even shame worked into it. And I mean, for example, for me, I think I reinvent myself, or reinvent myself, it sounds like such a top shelf word, but I don't know what else to call it. I ask myself what I want way more than my partner does, and I change more, at least in the time we've been together for 10 years now. So maybe he has an upcoming change as well, I don't know, we'll see. But to me, I think I have changed at least twice, once or twice at least, during the time we've been together. And for example, my values, what I want to spend my time doing, what is my biggest interests, and what I put my energy into, and what I want in life. And that can be difficult. I mean, if it becomes too much of a gap, I mean, it's scary to communicate that you're changed, or, oh, hi honey, I have changed my mind about how much money we're gonna put on a house, for example, like the standard for our house. I mean, that can be like a real torn in the side, and because I mean, if how you live it's like a big deal. At least to me, it's a big deal, and because it's not just how you live and the standard. I mean, how nice a house do you have, or how nice a car do you drive? It's not just about that. It's also the layer of the economical perspective. That, for example, that I don't want to put in too much money into where I live. I want to use that money to invest and maybe save up, and so will be able to live more. I don't want to just put all my money where I live, like my actual house, my property. I want to use my money to give myself time and to actually live. And that is just for an example how communicating changes to people that you are close, or that might be affected by your change, how that can be scary as hell. I hope that you feel like you can maybe relate to at least some things that I'm talking about here, like the reinvention of yourself or evolvement of yourself, and maybe some base values that you have that sometimes are, in some seasons of your life, it's magnified, and in some seasons of your life they're on mute, so to say. And that will shape where you put your resources, I guess, time, money, energy. That's at least that's the resources that I go by, in life: time, energy, money. Those are the three that I have to distribute. What do? You have people to think about. What do? You can't just rip everything up. But your wild heart has to roam. So, what do? Because you need to do something.